It's 2025 and it's time to take a look at the best cheap and budget friendly RC cars you can currently buy. It's still pretty early in the year and I'm sure we'll see some epic new releases as we progress through 2025, but we still need to take a look at some of the best options right now. A lot of the cars which I featured last year are still relevant, which is why it makes sense to put an up-to-date list together for 2025. These videos are very much based on personal opinion, so you may not agree with all of my choices, and if you don't agree, feel free to drop a comment down below and let me know what your top 10 would be. So at number 10 is the Rlaarlo X12S. It's 1/12 scale, brushless, 3S ready out the box. Being a Rlaarlo, it's excellent quality, especially with the fantastic adjustable oil-filled shocks. Rlaarlo electronics are also known for being really good and they always seem to perform well. Now I managed to achieve 38 miles per hour using the included 3S battery, and that's not a bad speed considering it's 1/12 scale. Off-road performance, fantastic, just as you would expect from a 1/12 scale buggy. It was definitely a lot more fun off-road compared to on-road, and that is where the X12S really shines when you take it out off-road. Now the only reason this buggy is at number 10 is because I didn't really feel that we needed it. We've already got so many 1/12 scale and 1/14 scale buggies out there, especially when it comes to budget and affordable options. I really struggle to see why Rlaarlo released this one because we didn't really need it. I think the one thing I really do like about the X12S is the Red Bull inspired body. It's definitely one of the coolest buggies Rlaarlo's ever released, but again, like I said, it is way down at number 10 because it's kind of a buggy we didn't need. Now if you like the look of this one but you want to pay a little bit less, maybe check out the BX12 by ZD Racing. It's essentially identical, but it does have slightly less powerful electronics. But that said, it still managed to achieve a similar speed compared to the Rlaarlo. Definitely check that one out if you're looking to spend just a little bit less money. At number 9 we've got another Rlaarlo, the XTS Rally. This is a proper 1/10 scale rally car. Now this is the first time Rlaarlo have given us a rally car, and just take a look at it. How can you not like the look of this car? So just like the previous buggy, this thing is top quality, just as you expect from Rlaarlo, and Rlaarlo are very quickly becoming one of the more premium budget brands out there. On a 3S pack, this thing will hit 37 miles per hour, but again, just like the previous buggy, taking out the XTS Rally off-road is going to be where you get the most fun. This thing is built to go off-road, but of course because it's a rally car, it's not going to be as versatile as some of the other cars on this list. But even though it may not have the ground clearance, it's still incredibly capable, as you can see on the footage here. The included gyro helps to keep things nice and stable, and if you decide you want to make some upgrades later on down the line, you absolutely can, because Rlaarlo feature a full list of upgrades for this platform. I have to say the LED lights really do look cool on this one as well. Now this is probably one of the best on-road / off-road affordable bashers you can currently buy, but I have had to place it further down on the list because it's just not as capable as some of the other trucks I'm going to mention. So at number 8 we have a fan favourite and a truck that has been around for a good few years now. Now some of you may know this truck as the FTX Tracer, and some of you may know it as the Hiboxing 16889. For years this has been one of the best affordable and budget friendly beginner trucks around. It's also one of the most durable trucks on this list, and even though I'm not into running my RC cars at skate parks, if you take this truck to a skate park, it will hold up to all of the abuse. And even though we're in 2025, the FTX Tracer brushless or the Hiboxing version is still a very solid choice for anyone looking to get into the hobby. Everything you need to get you up and running is included in the box. They're easy to use, like I said, they're durable. There's also easy access to parts and upgrades. These trucks really are a very good all-rounder. Now at one point I would have definitely placed these trucks higher up on a top 10 list, but there has been some really cool and much nicer new releases, which are arguably a little bit more fun as well. Now I still had to include this truck because it is still fantastic, but I do think there are slightly more fun options available now, which is why it's at number 8. Moving on to number 7, and we have the MJX 10208. The version 1 wasn't great, but the version 2 fixed a lot of the problems with the previous one. This is one of the largest and most powerful trucks on this list. This truck will handle 4S. Now the good thing about going for a larger truck will mean that it's going to be a bit more capable when you get it out off-road. It will handle that rough terrain a lot better compared to some of the smaller cars on this list, such as the FTX Tracer or High Boxing that I mentioned previously. MJX build quality is also really good, maybe not at the same level as Rlaarlo, but it's definitely up there. Now these trucks can be a little bit more difficult to work on, they're not as user friendly as some of the other options on this list, and if you're just getting into the hobby, I don't know if this would be one of the best options to go for. I mean, this thing is seriously quick out the box, especially when you use a 4S pack. Of course you can run it on 3S, which will also give you decent performance. Now this MJX 10208 offers excellent value because compared to some of the other brands out there, if you're looking for a 4S truck, you're going to be paying way more. Now I've put it at number 7 because it still has some issues even though they've upgraded it to a version 2. For example, the body is still not the best, it doesn't always like to stay on properly, but that said it's still a very solid option in 2025. At number 6 we have another MJX, but this time it's their Hyper Go Rally. Now I think this and the Infraction inspired version are two of my favourite MJX cars ever. The Hyper Go platform is now extremely successful. Not only are the Hyper Go cars affordable, but they're also incredibly durable. You can easily get hold of parts and upgrades for them. Everything you need to get you up and running is included in the box, and these things are absolute weapons when it comes to speed. Just look how fast they can go on 3S. These cars are the perfect package if you're looking to do some on-road stuff with a little bit of off-road stuff thrown in as well. You can't really take these things off-road and have too much fun because there's not a huge amount of ground clearance. I don't think there's another budget-friendly car out there that's going to give you the same level of fun. At number 5 we have a brand new entry, and it's the High Boxing 3103A. These trucks are the perfect alternative to the Mojave Grom. They cost half as much as a Mojave Grom. They feature very similar performance, and I think that Hoonigan inspired body looks fantastic on these. There's also a couple of new versions coming as well in the future, which I have already reviewed, but I don't think they're available yet. Now these little short course trucks are perfect for beginners getting into the hobby. Everything you need to get you up and running is included in the box. They're pretty capable on road, although I would have liked to have seen a gyro just to help with stability a little bit. On 2S it's absolutely fine, but on 3S it does start to get a bit twitchy. Off-road performance is great, these things handle really well, but again I would have liked to have seen a gyro on these just to keep them a little bit more stable. The really cool thing about these trucks is they do feature Hobbywing electronics and a standalone receiver. These are fantastic beginner trucks and a perfect alternative to the Mojave Grom, and definitely one of my favourite affordable beginner trucks in 2025. So we're getting close to the top now, moving on to number 4. And I'm gonna throw in the Arrma Gorgon / Fury. Now the Arrma Gorgon and Fury are fantastic beginner inspired trucks. They can be upgraded to brushless later on if you do want a little bit more power, but even brushed out the box they're still really good fun. Now the initial cost of the trucks is actually quite low, but the only thing bringing them down a little bit is the cost of spare parts. A new body for example is still pretty expensive, and some of the other parts as well, and considering these are beginner inspired trucks I'm not really sure why Arrma thought this would be a good idea. I think prices of parts definitely needs to come down, but I had to include both of these trucks on this top 10 because they are fantastic in their own way. Parts availability is going to be great because just like any Arrma, you will be able to pick up the bits from your local hobby stores. That's something you can't do with a lot of the trucks I've already mentioned on this list. And then of course, like I said, you can upgrade to brushless later on if you are craving a little bit more power. This is definitely a good platform if you're just starting in the hobby. You'll also enjoy the size of these trucks a little bit more as well, which will make them a bit more capable off-road. And although they're not as fast as some of the other trucks I've already mentioned, it's not always about speed. Moving on to number 3, and it has to be the MJX Hyper Go Truggy. For a long time this was my number 1 best and affordable budget RC car, but there is now a slightly better option in my opinion, which I have placed at number 2, and we will take a look at that in a moment. Just like I mentioned earlier with the rally car, the Hyper Go platform is now one of the most successful budget platforms out there, and compared to the rally car, this truggy version is just that little bit more capable, especially when you get it out off-road, because it has more ground clearance and the bigger tyres. Now this isn't just an off-road truggy, because this thing will reach very impressive speeds on road as well. I mean, we're talking some very high speed considering the size of this little truck. Obviously, if it's too fast, you can turn the power down a little bit on the transmitter. Quality wise, it's not as well built as the two options which I've got coming up on this video, but it's still definitely good for the money. Out the box, you cannot go wrong with an MJX Hyper Go truggy, but like I said, I do think it's been replaced and there's an even better option available. So taking a look at number 2, and it's back to Rlaarlo with the ROG1. Here we have the usual Rlaarlo quality, fantastic oil field adjustable shocks, a pretty powerful 2 to 3S capable brushless system, and even though it's quite small at 1/14 scale, when you're driving this thing around it definitely feels like a much larger truck. Everything just feels really nice on this truck. Now on the included 3S battery you are going to achieve speeds up to 50 miles per hour. I actually achieved 48, and at those kind of speeds you would expect a 1/14 scale truck to be very twitchy. But this thing was planted. Now off-road this truck performed really well as well. Really good strong performance on 3S. And even though this truck is small, it definitely feels like you're driving around a larger truck. Maybe like a 1/10 scale truck for example. Now there are loads of different mini RC cars out there, but I definitely think this one is one of the best ones we've ever seen. It's a very good portable all-rounder, but there is another option from Rlaarlo which I think is the best affordable RC truck in 2025. So this brings us on to number 1, the best affordable RC car you can buy in 2025. And of course, if you haven't worked out which one it is already, it has to be the Rlaarlo Omni-Terminator. And yes, it's not a true 1/10 scale truck, it's actually a mini 1/10 scale truck. Basically a 1/12 scale truck, but Rlaarlo like to call it a mini 1/10 scale. That doesn't really matter because this is one of the most perfect all-round affordable trucks you can buy. It has the usual fantastic Rlaarlo quality which we're used to seeing, and those of you out there who already own the carbon Omni-Terminator, drop a comment down below and let me know what you make of the truck. I really do think it's one of the most perfect all-rounders we've ever seen, not just when it comes to affordable RC cars, but RC cars as a whole. Yes, it's a bit smaller than some of the competition, which is quite clear, but that's not always a bad thing because some people do appreciate that it's a little bit more portable. On-road performance, fantastic, really good speeds on 2S and 3S, and then of course taking it off-road, it's incredibly capable. Handling on this truck is better than some of the more expensive brands out there. I don't think there's another affordable option out there that pretty much does everything that this Rlaarlo Omni-Terminator does, and I'm confident enough to say that it is better than the majority of the big branded cars out there. Now you may completely disagree and you may not think that the Omni-Terminator deserves the number 1 spot, and if that's the case, let me know in the comments which car you would put at number 1. So there we go, that was my top 10 cheap and affordable RC cars in 2025. Of course, as new releases start coming out in 2025, I will do an updated list later on in the year, but for now, these are pretty much some of the best RC cars you can buy if you're on a tight budget. Now every year people say, yeah, but you don't give us the prices, you never put the prices on the screen, and that's because the prices are constantly changing. The best thing to do to check the current prices is to use the links in the description below. That's the only way you're going to get the most up-to-date price. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and of course make sure you've got notifications turned on as well so that you never miss out whenever I post a new video. Cheers for watching, see you on the next one, take care. If you enjoyed today's top 10, why not check out these 2 videos.